Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the name of God, the most benevolent, the most merciful. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. All praise due to the Lord of the worlds. A'udhu billah shaitan rajim. May God protect us. May our Lord protect us from the cursed one and from unnecessary ignorance. Rabbi Gfirli, my Lord, forgive me for all the sins that I have consciously and unconsciously made. Ihdina sirat al-mustaqim. May God guide me to the direct path. All right. So, hello everyone. My name is Amin, but I use the online alias Mr.Within. I started off this lecture by praising the system administrator to this reality. Um, I am Muslim, and what that means is that God, for me, is beyond the world. So nothing in the world, which I class as a simulation, which I consider as a simulation, nothing in the world can be God. So Muslims are praying to La ilaha illallah, there is no God but God, meaning that the higher power has no partner, has no equivalent in the world. Do you understand? That is why Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, is the final messenger, because that was the final thing required to understand that it's beyond the world. That's the finale of how far man's consideration of truth can go. Now we're living in a very interesting world, and in today's lecture, more than being focused on the metaphysics of it all, I want to zoom in to this idea that I have talked about the inner realms in so many of my lectures, but tonight I want to bring it in the sense of what's going to happen behind the eyes of not just one person, but our species. This is important. So, whoever you are, I don't care if you're, a politician or as someone who works in a coffee shop, whoever you are now, for the first time in history, probably this hasn't happened before, but for the first time in history, you're seeing a human being talk about the imagination of a species in 2025. That means there could have been so many different great speakers before I was born, but I am now the live update. That means history, if for me personally, is a live stream. But, for those in the future, 2025 is going to be like a past stream. As much as there is within me an urge to conquer through the halls of justice, okay, in today's lecture, I'm going to try to even fascinate myself by it. because it's something I haven't looked at. It's like I'm actually opening the hood of a car, and I'm looking at the engine. But now what I'm doing is I'm opening the hood of an advance of modern civilization, looking at the engine and wondering in some sense, okay, what is the finale of the sum output of every human activity on earth? So for me, it's very, very fascinating that we're not like the human being isn't an ultimate power. As a Muslim, I don't have like that much ego to be like, okay, I'm God, guys. I'm God. Everybody listen to me. Like you know what I mean? I don't have that much like kind of like obliviousness to reality. Do you know? Like I've reached a point in this life where I'm like, okay, I look at an ant. An ant is a lower power. I'm like to the ant, like possibly a higher power. Now, what am I an ant to? And I'm one of those human beings that, as much as I'm talking about the advancement of civilization, my heart has opened up to the true fascination and exploration, pure exploration of the relationship of a being with the higher reality. You see, it's a choice. It's as if you're given a spectrum and you're choosing where to go. And this is such an important thing I'm telling you, because it can completely change your life if you access a completely different context to the possibility of reality. Dear viewers, you are listening to a human being that is so busy caring for the future that I don't really care for the present that much. Like the present, I understand it. I understand that we're all standing under this unfathomable event that is occurring. Do you know? We're within a system that is intelligent. Now, I'm like, okay, in this human lifetime, I'm one of those people who actually, I don't know why, the way God created me for my youth is that I have been what people would call like a true introvert, and that occurs when you accept you will be alone. When you accept you're alone, it's weird. It's as if like you feel distant from how easy the expansion of the heart can be, but on some level it is the task of man. That means, if like, I can understand women appreciating the beauty in the world, but when it comes to men, we're like, okay, we got to build this. We got to, and I'm not talking about, see, the idea of men and women, the ideas of like the idea of man and the idea of woman are equal. I understand feminism completely in the inner realms, but when it comes to the outer realms, if we ignore the biology, are we still in the inner realms, or are we truly noticing the outer realms? So, I, as one human being, I don't know what let's. I feel like maybe it's 100% the first time in history, because it's the first time in history I'm doing this. You know, it's like, how do you know you're making history? Because nobody like me has ever existed attempting this new thing. You know, because I exist in the moment, I cannot ignore the how reality. See, when I was young, reality had one layer. I was like, what is this whole thing? It doesn't make sense. But as I experienced reality, it uncovered its deeper layers, you know? And for me, I could not avoid the honesty, the pure honesty that there is a see, if I don't understand truth, it's mysterious here. Okay. Do you know what I mean? I'm suggesting to the viewers that we look at the outer landscape, okay, Like, this is honestly, guys, one of the most interesting lectures because the topic has never been, I think, like talked about like this. I keep saying that. So, see, before I speak about how we address the inner landscape of human evolution, we have to be like, okay, let's agree on something in the outer evolution. Okay. And I'm like, okay, it's fair to say every conscious person, you know, who's even capable of like consciously navigating a vehicle, any conscious person, okay, how do I tell you? It's like if I ask you right now, who are you? You will start telling me the story of your outer self. But if I ask you, who are you, about your inner self, you'll be like, hey, man, if I'm honest, it's all switching on and off. Do you understand? Our outer life seems to be constant, but our inner life is kind of like a sine wave. It's oscillating, right? And just like how the nature of like a sophisticated advanced human being to me is somebody who has also in an advanced way, I guess their circadian rhythms are tuned to the rhythms of the cosmos. Anyways, I'll give this talk as if the most important politicians in the world are listening to it, and if somebody's like Mr. Within, you know uh they're not going to be listening to your talk, and I'll be like, okay, but after that I'd be like, maybe their children might, maybe somebody just hears something, some idea echoes from this lecture beyond just the sphere of impact it has just for me and my channel, and it just like advances reality. Okay. All right, guys, there's so much more to this episode, and I was just relocating. Let me just get into it and see like what I can do here. Okay. See, I'm gonna explain it as if, you know, a younger me was listening. Okay. And I would say, here's the thing. There's something called human evolution. Human evolution is a verb. It's happening to a noun, and the noun is the human being. But because as long as verbs exist, nouns kind of don't have meaning. It's like as long as there's intelligence, matter is not superior. So where I'm going with this is that we look at human evolution, we associate it to biological, objective, existential materialism. Okay. So in some sense, it's like what's happening to our body And what's interesting is that it's not just external forces like weather. Like, if you just look at it from the perspective of the body, it'd be very fascinating, right? Like, if somebody's like, what's the proof of the soul? I'll be like, it's a secret of God, but I'll tell you this. If you just started from the perspective of a biological body and you wondered what forces in the world are influencing a biological body, you'll be fascinated to discover that aside from weather, external reality, culture, and everything outside of you, there's something internally moving this body, if you just look at it from the perspective of the body. So the proof of it is that something is moving an object, and it's moving it in a sophisticated information processing manner. Okay? That means we're kind of like being like, okay, we can get like Darwin could tell us about the biological evolution, but what about the biological evolution? Excuse me, about the outer excuse me, about the outer evolution. Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like Darwin's like, yeah, man, this is something that I can externally see and you and externally can see, right? Evolved in this manner and is influencing the human activity, right? But now, if we were like, wait a minute, what if the whole time there's been an inner life to the object? So it's not just like what happens outside of you that influences you, it's how something internally, just like who you are as an attention, is processing the information in a manner where it's kind of bizarre. It's like, yo, man, how do you know you're a soul? It's like, it's weird, man, because I'm aware I'm an object and I'm aware I'm a subject at the same time. How can I be one of them if I'm aware of both of them simultaneously? So there seems to be another deeper layer to this viewer. Now, Buddhists take this so seriously. They're like, go get enlightened, go through that tunnel. And I'll be like, yo, man, relax, everybody. Right. And the point of it is to kind of realize, if you are one of those explorers who wants to go discover the soul, you cannot. It's like it's restricted. It's not forbidden, but it's restricted. What that means is it's a secret of God. The system admin intentionally designed for you to never be able to know what's actually looking through you. Okay? And what you have been doing as an entity this whole time, as we all have, has been constant resimulation of reality. Now, we either do this physically through biological patterns of behavior, right? Or internally through, how do I say it? Like, see, I'm pretty much telling you every, like, outer, if you tell me like, yo, man, what kind of culture is inside like the television screen, I'll be like, it's a culture primarily focused on outer reality, and we're all ignoring that we have this deeper unknown inner reality, and we're all playing these costume games of, yo, man, yeah, I'm this character in a story. They're like, who are you? It's like, I'm probably going to write my memoir quicker before I die. So if people ask me, who are you, I'm like, go buy my book, man, if that's the level you're asking. If you're wondering what I'm looking at now, that's more of an advanced question, right? You know what I mean? That means there was something about the comprehension of awareness and attention. Okay? That if you, for example, drop pride, drop the past, and drop persona, you'll realize it's like there is no proof for the space that's the awareness that is viewing what it's instantaneously associating to be. Do you understand? Because this realm is a specific test, it's like a specific video game. Do you know? And this video game has a sort of specific mission layout. Now, you could try to play, you could choose to stand still, you could do whatever, trying to stand still. Do you know what to me, like Buddha and in like monks or meditating, anybody who's meditating, you know what it looks like to me? Prayer is different. Prayer is the intention to communicate with a higher power. Okay. But for example, Buddhism, yoga, meditation, all that stuff is like a character in a video game that has stopped moving. And they're like, yo, what are you doing? And it's like, if I stop moving, I'll understand the secret behind the video game. And all they understand is a pop up error message from the system: stop being idle or you're going to be counted as AFK. To me, spirituality is child's play. Religion, which is the realization that if you are a being that's not living in an empty room, but in a world room where the highest ideal is that which is beyond the world, that means they're like, yo, man, would you rather have something in your world govern your world, or would you rather have something that's outside of your world and can see the whole world and govern it? Okay, let's actually dive in to, I gotta like honor the episode title. So it begins, dear listeners. I have to somehow communicate to you something important about the future so you realize why it's important to pay attention to what the most advanced activity on Earth is, rather than to, in some sense, roam a world that is just unknown always. You see, reality is very interesting because the way the system admin has created the simulation, and this is not, I'm not like preaching original truth, this is just the opinion of one human being, it seems to me that the way existence has been shaped and the simulation has been structured is that the simulation is in some sense the journey of attention through systems of being as a system of being until it's no longer biologically just a system of being. Okay, but that's too far. I don't want to talk about the afterlife. I want to talk about the notion that when I, as a human being, ask myself, what is the most advanced human? And then I ask myself, what is the most advanced species? And then I ask myself, what is the most advanced world? And when I ask myself, what is the most advanced state? To me, that's God. You don't understand what God means. God means you're in the presence of an attention that all your imagination that is limited in the world is inferior to. Praying to God is like realizing that the main point of life is not you. It's not just like you. The advancement of human civilization. If they tell me what's the quickest way is God's mercy. If God suddenly realizes there is a worthiness in human civilization to, as if it's like they're like, how do I say it? Theologically, man is neither a beast and it's neither an angel. Angel are like perfected beings, beasts are like oblivious, ignorant beings, and man is here in the middle, having the capacity, having like in the middle of a doorway. Do you know what I mean? You have one foot in each room. So that is the nature of man. Now, here we are like, okay, the game has changed. If the game before was just like, how do we build an advanced civilization? That was like, okay, that was like the first prototype attempt. Okay, now it's kind of like, how do we build an advanced civilization in the presence of that which is the ultimate authority upon reality? And it's like we're simulated beings, and we're like, yo, what are these simulations that are praying all day doing? They're acknowledging the higher power. It's a manner of honor in the presence of that which is beyond you. But that which is beyond you, the honest wisdom is to go directly to the system admin. Don't play around with mods. The mods also want this, because the clarity of the human species is like a light. Do you know what I mean? That means if humanity succeeds, it would be the brightest moment of worlds. I don't know how to tell you. I think it would be every being on earth would be like, yo, every being in the world would be like, okay, let's support humanity to see how great it can be. Like, we're all fascinated to see how advanced we can be. And how advanced we can be is, again, up to the system admin. So all we can do as human beings is pray for the most advanced state of our civilization honestly expressing itself, and then being in some sense judged whether it was worthy to eternalize or not. You see, it's very fascinating. It's like before it was just like, how can I get to heaven? Now it's kind of like, how can I get an and how can I get an advanced civilization? As if God created man, and man was like, oh my God, like thank God. And the moment that state of mind occurred, where it's as if whether I like it or not, I am in the sight of the original, meaning in whatever simulated reality, the awareness to the original power is like the mystery of your soul. It's like in the soul sector of being. But I'm saying that's a sector that you shouldn't touch. You shouldn't go exploring the soul. You should live life, and life reveals its dimensions to you. Because technically, just to say it simply, how do I tell you this? There's gonna come one evening where you're going to wonder what tomorrow's sunrise will bring. There will come a moment where you will find freedoms that you did not have before, but you will ask yourself, what is ultimate freedom in a simulated world? You begin to realize that even though you are human, you are in the presence of archetypes that surpass human reality. It's as if it's so fascinating. Man is present in a world where he's tempted to sin, but simultaneously God has created the act. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. God has created the act. It means God has created intelligence. Like, whoa. And so, theologically speaking, it's like we're contextualized as to be the masterpiece of the creator that all creation acknowledged. Do you know? You see, where all this leads is that human civilization so far in 2025 has an awareness to how a human evolution has occurred externally. Now, when I say the inner landscape of human evolution, I want you to, for one moment, whether you want to close your eyes or not, just fathom the fascination of this. Okay? Just a second, guys. Okay, let me start over. Ladies and gentlemen, my fellow species members, I have no clue who all of you are, but we have something in common, and it's what we see in the mirror. We see a human design. We see a human with a unique DNA. But nonetheless, we see a human, and because of our existence, we are alive in association to something bigger than whatever group we have fathomed so far. And right now, ladies and gentlemen, don't freak out, but you are living in the pre true fascination of reality era. That means you don't understand. We're living in a dolled out version. It's like if you were talking about resolution, and as civilization is advancing, it's like a video that's becoming more and more higher resolution. Right now, we're in 2025, it's low resolution, but this low resolution is not like the oldest. It's like, how do I say it? It's like 250 or something. So, what do I mean by this? I mean that we, as human beings, I think this is where style is born when you accept what sort of world you want to walk in. And the idea is simply, it is simply, sorry, I was trying to get you to just for a moment, just consider, just close your eyes and fathom how there's like 8 billion human beings alive right now. And you to imagine how many human beings have ever lived on Earth from the beginning of time. Do you understand? Like, imagine all those human lives, all those journeying souls, all those walkers of worlds. So imagine all those human beings, and now imagine you're privileged to be part of one, but you're now living in a civilization that you deep down know your species deserves better. It's like, come on, guys, it's like this. We're living in this looping civilization by choice when we're conscious of something beyond it. I'm like, the moment my brain just put those two words, advanced and civilization, together, it was like a door that opened for me. You know, it was as if I suddenly asked myself, how have I never wondered about what the most advanced state of being is, and how have I never wondered about what the most advanced self is? How have I never wondered about what the most advanced excuse me, what the most advanced species is, and what is the most advanced thing that a species can do in the world, and what is the most advanced state of the world, and how all what is the most advanced way of doing all of this in the presence of the system admin, meaning we're like reasonable enough to be like, okay, just like in nature, there's like a hierarchy of beings. Man shouldn't be like, yo, man, I'm the higher power here. The higher power is gonna be like, you're in a simulation, bro. You know what I mean? Like, ladies and gentlemen, this reality can be proven to be a simulation in endless ways. But the reason it's simulated is not because of your conscious attention's emergence. It's because it has such a unique design that you're obviously in a system you didn't create, and you can obviously after some point notice what is man-made, because man-made has symmetry, and in some sense the geometry is obvious, but how nature works is that its geometry is done in accordance to the space of expansion. Okay, nature just expands into space. Okay, but when it comes to man, his attention can move in many ways. So right now, as a human being, when I wonder about, like when I say let's all address the, what do you call it, let's all address the inner landscape of human evolution. I'm like 8 billion human beings alive right now. We're all technically present in human evolution. Okay, they're like, what are you doing, man? I'm evolving as a human every day. What do you want me to say? It's like it's human evolution is occurring right now as an event. And we're all participating in this event. And now I'm saying there's two sides to this coin. For the warriors on Earth, this world, this world has is similar to a double-edged sword. You know, you see, it is not just about an honest entrance into the movement of the moment. I find that we can't not advance civilization if we could. Like that's something that has to be considered. So my whole effort is I'm like, okay, for all those people who want to look at reality deeply, the answer is the system admin. For all those people who want to, in some sense, don't want to consider the system admin, you got to consider like the world is watching you. Okay, and if you don't believe in the world, you have to consider like your species is existing in front of you. It's like I'm not saying this is a kind of like oblivion movie moment. Like I know that there is a presence in this world and it's active, and its activity has an inner and outer dimension simultaneously. And we're like, what does that mean for the human being? It means that there's an inner life we've been living this whole time, and there's an outer life. And what's fascinating is that the outer life occurred first, and then one day we started remembering reality. Do you understand? That means what the human is an ability to notice more, notice more, notice more, and pattern development. So ultimately, we're asking ourselves, what's the most advanced state of pattern development? And if we consider ourselves as limited beings, the most advanced state of pattern development would, in some sense, be all that which is beyond us. You see, it's just a matter of like they're like, how did human beings behave, before they entered the future? And we're like with style, like we acknowledged all the spectrum of values to reality. And as modern human beings in 2025, we were like, okay, you know, we have to kind of like appreciate how humanity makes mistakes before there's just robotic sinlessness. The inner landscape of human evolution means the never possible to have ever been discussed and written in history. Um, all the inner ways and values and moments, and just like take yourself as an example, like it's the secret life that everybody lives that nobody else can see. That's kind of what it's like by being an intelligent human. Like that's human intelligence. And so it's a matter of what do we do with the time that we're here, and how deeply do we look at life, and where do we get when it comes to the initiative of how, what is, like, pretty much the strategy is, if we want an advanced civilization, if that's our goal, if that's the where the vision is being, like, okay, that's reason, let's put that as the check, like the milestone. Pretty much I came to this realization that if I want to get to know my most advanced self, my most advanced self um wouldn't be the most advanced self if it just only alone became super advanced, and then it found itself in an unadvanced world. Like, what's the point of that? So my view simply is this, that even in the Holy Quran, أعوذ بالله الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب اغفر لي. In the Holy Quran, it says that if man stopped sinning, civilization would be wiped out, so a new civilization that still was sinning would come. This doesn't mean we should keep sinning, but this means that man is in a very unique position between angel and beast, and he has the opportunity to systemize and organize it through the unique intelligence that's been given. Because what makes us the superior species on the visible earth in front of our eyes is the mere fact that we're aware that we're aware. You think animals are aware of their death, like that death will come one day? No. But how are you as a human being if you're like, yo, man, I'm an advanced animal? It's like, yo, sure. That's just like one layer, one manner of looking at reality. But what is the most advanced? And you're going to realize the most advanced actually has to do with the macro conditions shifting. And for me, I don't know, something has driven me so far in this life. It's as if, like, if they were like, hey man, do you have the ability to just like ignore everything and just kind of live a kind of like invisible life, I'll be like, yeah, I can totally do that. But then if they say, or would you rather live a life where if you saw an advanced possibility for civilization, should you speak about it before you exit reality or not? And so far, the answer seems that it's a manner of shift, aligning the context to the original power as a simulated entity, and looking at the remarkable architecture of how everything in human civilization is actually how human beings are reacting to being in a world at all. The depth of the psychology of how deeply human beings should think about reality. Let me tell you how it works. You immediately go to the system admin, you ask for forgiveness, you realize you don't have all the answers, you accept that you don't have the answers and it's all okay. You didn't create this system, the system admin did. You understand that the system admin is superior to the world, so nothing in the world can be the system admin. And so this is where spirituality kind of becomes like an arena, like a domain, It becomes like spirituality to me. It's like a sector of reality where it's like they're dancing. Ignorance and the transcendental are kind of like dancing, and it's like strange because what you want is original spirituality. Original spirituality means a relationship with the original power as a simulated being. There's so much more to this. And right now, as I speak, the future generations are giggling. They're like, yo, man, that guy had no clue what he was saying, but he didn't realize he was saying something that the future would understand. What I mean by this is that the future generations, like, I don't acknowledge how far I see the future, like deep down. But to me, I have so much respect for the original creator power that to me I'm like, okay, it makes sense. If I'm inside a simulation, if I'm inside a box, nothing in the box should satisfy me that truth is in, like, truth is not in the box. So they say think outside of the box. If you think outside of the box of a simulated truth, that's where you come to a point where you just simplify when you're in the presence of the higher power. You break down, and your purest form realizes its true capability, and the guidance is done through your conscious intent. But the reality is, it's as if God knows what is truly in man's heart. God knows the soul better than the soul knows itself. And so we're inside not only a natural surveillance state, like our eyes and the eyes of all creatures, but we're inside a divine surveillance state. And this divine surveillance state means it's like whatever we do, it's present in front of the higher power. That means if I look at a squirrel on a tree, God is also aware of all that squirrel on the tree. So it means that I am in the presence of that which is beyond the limited psychology. So the inner landscape of human evolution is being like, hey, maybe we have a bunch of clues on how the outer evolution is happening, but the inner evolution is a mystery. But it's ultimately a reaction. Excuse me, not a reaction. It's ultimately how consciousness deals with how it moves in the world. So the inner landscape of human evolution means how you are alive behind your eyes, or what story you live through as a subjective experiencer. The inner landscape has two options of either being aligned to the higher power, or it's either like you go and seek power in the world, or you seek power beyond the world. Those who seek power in the world, you can choose to seek it, but the world is a simulation, so you gotta realize that it's like the effort is hollow also. But who knows? God has an ability to shift all odds. They're like, what's destiny? It's what God wants. What does God want? For man to show as if man is being tested in accordance to the religious context. Man is in some sense being like, okay, what's your potential? When we wonder about the potential of man, we come to this view of like, how far can everything go, right? And you'll be fascinated how much further everything can go because you're at the edge of reality watching it. What that means is you right now, alive in 2025, You are living history. You're history that hasn't become history yet. The inner landscape of human evolution is the massive storytelling, internal storytelling, even cinematic storytelling that has been going on behind our eyes in regards to what we consider as thinking. But every time we've been thinking, if we can notice more than one thought, the awareness to two thoughts means that we are not a thought. So immediately man realizes that just because you're an advanced biological human and compared to all the species on Earth, you have a capability to acknowledge, not, you have the capability to address the higher power. Like squirrels can't do that, dolphins can't do that. So it's kind of the responsibility of a conscious being. But you're also aware that you're aware, which means that life is not per se about how just this mechanism of it, but it's kind of like playing your part and to truly wonder about where is the true value system to for being inside a simulation. It would be equivalent to how do I get close to the main operating system, how do we build an advanced civilization that in some sense it's not just human beings smiling, so is our creator. And this doesn't mean our creators as any human quality, but it is the suggestion that if man is in the presence of the higher power, it doesn't matter if it was aliens landing on Earth, it was super intelligent something, or, whatever kind of storytelling that could happen. But man right now has a relationship with his source as a biological human through the sacredness of us, not just revealed source code, but the source code pointing directly that you must have a direct relationship with the original power, and the solution is to be simple. So we have to internally be simple to notice how the internal landscape of human evolution has moved. Anyways, I think I need to give a part two to this, but thank you for listening. I think this lecture has opened up many views for the viewers. Follow those views. Be guided by your fascination, but by how much further you can see. An advanced civilization is a civilization where every human being is aware how every human being is advancing. It's incredible. But that's so far ahead. That's like 200 years in the future. And that sophistication is not for our minds. That means they're like, yo, man, you can in this see in the future. And the person's like, yeah, man, but I don't want to. And they're like, why? Because if I see 200 years in the future, directly experience it, I cannot have the normality of the psychology of the year I'm historically, biologically in. So the mind has an ability to fathom variations, but the body is an existential shape. So the inner landscape of human evolution ultimately goes into the conscious domain of human evolution, and the conscious domain of human evolution from a sort of aerial view is what is going how is the world uh, how is the how is there going to be an emergence of a global government that acknowledges the human being not in accordance to just having value to its nation, but having value as being a member of a species, and how there is an honorable path in the contribution to live advance. Thank you for listening. I'm going to end the lecture here. There's so much more to say, though, and I can feel it. But thank you for listening so far, whoever you are. Honor the original. Let us wonder about greatness that is valid. That's a beautiful idea. Valid greatness. Auzubillah shaitan rajim. May God protect us from the cursed one and unnecessary ignorance. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the name of God, the most benevolent and the most merciful. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. All praise due to the Lord of the worlds. Rabbi Gfirli, my Lord, forgive me. My Lord, forgive my species and all of us the sins that we know and we don't know, and lead humanity to the most advanced state so that your whole creation witnesses the greatness of your creation, all in honor of your greatness of being, the ultimate unification of a world in the presence of the system admin. That means if let's say an extraterrestrial or whatever kind of being, like fantasy being or extraterrestrial, just came from a completely different world, I'll be like, what I have in common with you is that we're all inside a simulation, and the system admin is beyond us administering us all. The system admin is an individual position where the honor for it makes the ego realize what's beyond it. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم. Thank you for listening.